Well, good morning, all you zombies. What's going on? It's a little after 1 o'clock in the morning, about 6 after. It is the 7th of March. It's Monday, 022. There's a lot of things people can wake up to and feel freaked out about. One of which is just basically having a smell of fire coming through your vents and drifting around until you actually wake up smelling it. And how about walking around all over the domicile where you're living in, trying to find out where the hell is the smell coming from? Well, that's what happened this morning, a half hour ago. I'm walking around the apartment, checking out what's going on. There's no fire coming up from anywhere. There's no heat. So I figure maybe somebody's barbecuing or something like that. Go outside, walk around the campus. Nothing. And I don't even see or smell any other open sources. I'm thinking, okay, well then this is kind of weird. Something got torched. Well, I did about more than an hour and a half ago. There was a commercial building somewhere near my town and close to my home that required more engine power than they actually had. They had to borrow some from LA County. Now, you got to understand Rosamond, California here. We're a unique town in this place. We have a town that's on the border sandwiched between LA County and Kern. And Kern owns our ass. Even though we wish LA would own our ass. But LA won't. So we're stuck with Kern. Which means we're still stuck with Kern in its limited capacities of trying to service a need of over 30 plus, 30K, shall we say, 30 plus K people living in this place. And we only have about 4 fire engines, 1 station, and not enough law enforcement. Yet we are the gateway to a major airbase. Anything happens in our town, we don't get enough resources coming through here. Except maybe the sheriff's department or highway patrol is screaming from different areas. If we got a chase going on, you bet that the Antelope Valley's already been alerted to it, including our own damn commands, up all the way up through Bakersfield and Mojave area. So that's no problem. But when it comes down for fire, our lovely supervisors have not made it clear that we still need to get more funding out here. Instead of trying to beautify something, we should need to get another service center out here for us. At least out here on the eastern end of Rosamond. We keep borrowing the same fire engines from the western end, not to mention the only ambulance service we've got, which houses about 4 ambulances, and most are out. They're out because they've got other services happening all over. And depending on how jammed up they are over at Antelope Valley Hospital and other nearby hospitals, if we've actually got them over there. They have rules and regulations concerning about the ambulances. They cannot discharge their patients unless, of course, they know that the hospital is going to admit them and take care of them. Otherwise, the ambulance is still in charge. Say, for example, if I happen to break an arm in this place, and I happen to go over to Antelope Valley Hospital. And let's just say it's a busy night. We have a hypothetical 1 or 2 helicopter runs with trauma coming in. A major pileup happened on the 14th somewhere, where all the hospitals are now being jammed. I have to wait. I may be given pain medications, but I have to wait until maybe 6 or 7 hours until I get seen. By that time, something could have happened, and I could have been in real trouble. But during that time, I have an ambulance crew that's already out trying to take care of me. But that doesn't help the town of Rosamond at this point over here, when all the ambulances at that moment are gone, and you still have people who still need to be treated. Something happened with maybe a few houses left and right, or something happens major, or even minor, but still something that requires an ambulance. They have paramedic fire engines, but they make lousy ambulances. So there's always scenarios happening like this. We've had it happen a few times in our life where we've had a hospital so overwhelmed that it started denying ambulances, including the ones we had over here. We have a community center, a medical community, maybe an urgent care, out in Tehachapi. Minor, light, scratch your arm, you'll be fine. Break your arm, you have to send over to a hospital. But then there'd be Santa Clarita in the hospital over there, the trauma center for the LA County. But for Kern doesn't have a trauma center that we know of, but they do have emergency hospital, depending on how backlogged they are. And it takes hours to get from Bakersfield to where we are, about a couple of hours worth of driving. So we have a logistics problem out here in Rosamond. We can depend upon fire services from the Air National Guard, not the Air National Guard Base, but the Edwards Air Force Base. If we have need of major fire services, such as if we have a fire that we cannot handle because our resources are stretched, meaning everything out of the firehouse is gone. So now we need help on that one. We can get an ambulance or two if we need one, but just bare basic life support, not paramedic. That's why we had to go through an ambulance service, because they're paramedics as well. But we still need to have the resources out here in the eastern end. The western end is where most of the population is housed. We still have new housing communities out there. That's still trying to attract more and more people. And we still have a fair share, about 10K out here in the eastern end, eastern side of the 14 freeway. We have older buildings. We have older trailer homes. And we have a few low rent places. And for the most part, most of the action happens on the West End anyway. But when we do need it, we're lucky enough to get a fire engine and an ambulance over here at times. But there are going to be times when we're going to be needing them all. And there's not going to be anything else left. We keep screaming and yelling over the damn county commissioners and supervisors of Kern County, but their bases of income, oil-driven revenues, and others, are just not enough to bring in their revenues to get us a working budget in order to get services out here needed. Basically, we're screwed. Basically, we're screwed. We had a fire out here in our local streets. No joke. As I said before, we had to borrow LA County's fire services because Kern was already busy. With the mutual cooperation aid that we have, we can aid each other if we need to, whenever the call is. But the problem is, we still like to get our own damn things over here, and we don't even have them. We don't even have enough law enforcement out here in Rosamond County, actually in Rosamond Town, necessary to take care of whatever crime problems we've got out here. You're talking about a small blob that's growing. Now, I used to joke about this town a lot. Say if you go on the 14 freeway, you're heading northbound, and if you're trying to find the off-ramp for Edwards Air Force Base, you probably blink and miss it and you're gone. And at the same time, the gateway town is Rosamond. You blink and you miss it. Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, it is pretty damn long. And it is pretty wide. But we just don't have the resources necessary to take care of things. So I'm kind of surprised that we're still surviving at all. And I'm still waiting for the disaster to happen that really puts our town at test, puts it to the metal. We've got chaparral issues left and right in this town. We have combustibles in certain spots. We have fire conditions. All they got to do is have the right atmospheric condition, and there it goes. Or human stupidity, and there it goes. Now, as much as people have kept trying to talk about it in town, a lot. Talk is one thing. Getting the services necessary, that's a different thing altogether. And they're going to have to continue to talk more about it because that's the only thing they can do in the councils. Talk themselves to death. I'm a transplant. I wasn't born in this damn town. I moved out here out of necessity. And now since I'm living in this place, I don't know what to make of it anymore. I really don't. I just hope it survives long enough. Long enough that I get the hell out of here. But for some people, that's all they've got. That's all they want. They like it because it's without all the major trappings of a major city. And I hate to tell them, but they've already got the shit here already. They've already got the crimes just miniaturized. You've already got your gangs already set up in this place. You already got your gang zones already set up in this place. You just don't have the resources necessary to combat it all. Or even having enough ambulances or fire engines in this place. It'd be nice if we actually get another station out here. The ambulance and fire engine are both separated. The ambulance services is on the east side of the freeway. The fire engines are on the west side. And what happens if we happen to get ourselves into a major catastrophe where we lose access to both sides? We have the 14 freeway. understand this. It does go right through the Antelope Valley here in California. In our territory, we have a lot of services split, and we have overpasses. What happens if we happen to have a natural catastrophe or an unnatural catastrophe that takes out those overpasses? Then what do we do? That's the thing that scares the hell out of me. Without having another fire engine out here, at least in our territory, another firehouse with more personnel, which means they had to have more people in the budget to have this kind of thing. But if we actually did, it would be nice. Because then it would make me feel a little safer at night. Other than that, let's just hope the smell goes away so I can go back to bed and sleep this thing off. Till then, fellow zombies, feel safe in your own beds.